What's up, everyone? Pritch here, and I apologize for not realizing this sooner, but Amazon has released their update on Current Issues Part 3. This update is going to be them addressing the Into the Void 101.1 patch that released, where basically they pissed off almost the entire player base for their video game for New World. So, including this guy. I'm real interested to see how this is going to go. I know normally I'm like pretty chipper and excited and happy, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not okay with the stealth changes and the way they decided to implement them. And so I'm really interested to see what kind of update and what they want to say about it, because this kind of post, these current issues posts, is when they are the most transparent. So I'm very, very interested to see what we're gonna have in store from their perspective. Again, this is gonna be basically all the Into the Void stuff on their end. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Thank you for your feedback and questions. Since our third edition of Update on Current Issues dev blog, we continue to collect feedback and questions, trends on active issues, and our community interested in learning about more. We appreciate everyone's interest into our communication and where we're going with New World, and we want to continue being transparent and communicative on how we plan to reach our goal and address outstanding issues. Wow, you're not starting out strong if you're going to say that you want to continue being transparent and communicative after releasing a patch notes with a bunch of stealth nerfs. That's not a strong start. Stability and performance in game. We released an update today that we believe improves stability and are working feverishly on a fix for performance. The Void Gauntlet introduced a problem with status effects where they are using approximately 10 times the bandwidth they should, resulting in performance issues when multiple status effects, not just from Void Gauntlet, are fired off. This impacts wars, invasions, and area groups of players that are using weapons with status effects, which is basically every weapon. I'm sick, by the way. I apologize ahead of time. There it is. Sorry about that, folks. So, verbatim, if you go back to when I did the Void Gauntlet first impressions, I verbatim said, guys, I think if you release the Void Gauntlet right now, you're going to cause worse war lag. Guess what happened? Didn't take a rocket scientist. I have 8 concussions and I figured it out. What's your guys' excuse? Come on. Oh my gosh. So yeah, you rushed it out and you screwed up wars. We've isolated the issue and are confident that we'll have a fix released to players once it's been thoroughly tested. Not catching this prior to release was a mistake. Yes, it was, and a net result of trying to go too fast. Yes. Yes. Don't ever do it again. Going forward, we strive to improve the quality of our releases. More details on release timing will be made available as soon as we have validated the fixes internally. Honestly, you know what I just read? So, guys, all the other times that we screwed up really badly and, had some player losses and whatnot, we didn't realize our mistake. But once you guys started giving mass bad reports on Steam, and once real big numbers started dropping, well, we realized our mistake. Come on, dude. You freaking knew you've been rushing out patches, and every patch you've been doing has been bugs on bugs on bugs. The only exception is 105, which still introduced bugs, don't get me wrong, but I would argue that I think 105 introduced probably more good than bad, which is the only patch I would say that for. All right. Lack of transparency on penalties and appeals. Understanding the messaging received when an account has had a penalty applied can be difficult, and we realize that the categories are too broad and may not provide enough information to players as to what they did that triggered the penalty. There are some okay, hold on. Real fast. I saw a Reddit post and this guy literally posted the messages that he sent and the messages they sent. This guy was like asking for something completely different, and he literally got a reply about why his ban isn't gonna get appealed or something like that. The dude wasn't even banned. Like, what? Is everything automated? Oh my goodness. There are some steps we're going to take to address this. First, we will be publishing some support articles that better address and provide insight into the categories and how these categories are tied to the code Oh, again, I'm sorry, guys, my nose. Tied to the code of conduct in terms of service. This will also provide insight into the penalties, duration, and the appeal process. Next, we're looking to the appeal process to provide more timely and better communication with acknowledgement that the appeal was received and time expected for a reply. Next, we're revamping the penalty messaging that is seen in-game. The goal will be to provide additional clarity into the player action that violated the code of conduct. I'll believe it when I see it. Moderation, both in-game and community spaces. Regardless of where you're participating, whether it's in-game or through our community spaces like the forums or the Discord, we heavily enforce our code of conduct to ensure a positive and constructive environment. We want everyone to feel comfortable participating in a tournament and online. We hear the feedback about the inconsistency of penalties applied to player accounts and are implementing processes to address this issue. Please continue submitting reports of players in-game and flagging threads and comments in the forums from players who are violating the codes of conduct. The teams go through each report and to determine the context behind the behavior and player moderation history before taking action. As we are all human, it's possible that some unsavory actors are let through the cracks or someone may have been flagged erroneously, but we will take corrective action should this occur. We have some items we're looking into to make moderation more transparent, whether it's finding the mechanisms to implement an in-game communication system to issue warnings or suspensions, or a way to communicate if a report you submitted was action on. I don't know what that means. Was like actionable? Is that what you're trying to say? We are also working on a few support articles that will help clarify our moderation process. Please keep your eye out for when these articles are released. This entire 3 paragraphs was basically, hey guys, we're going to work on it. Nothing's going to change right now, but, we'll work on it. Okay, does that even really need to be here then? Like, I thank you for addressing the fact that you hear us, but that was nothing. I learned nothing. Oh, boy. Hold on. Guys, the title is Learnings from Our PTR. I can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 paragraphs if you include that last little thing. I can tell you right now. Learning from our PTR. Let me tell you what they learned. Nothing. They didn't do jack. They didn't change a thing. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for this. This month, we launched our first version of the public test realm, and we wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for all your support and valuable feedback. It's valuable feedback. That we sent feedback into a virtual furnace. It's been exciting to see the number of players actively providing feedback and reporting bugs both in-game and through the forums. Moving forward, we see the public test room as an important tool in our development process. You mean the early access, right? You're talking about early access to see how people would react to the things you want to do. And you will continue to see us invest and improve the public test process. We want to acknowledge that we have heard your observations, especially in terms of the Fire Staff and Ice Gauntlet nerfs, the buffs to Great Axe, and the reticle design for ranged weapons. While you won't always see immediate changes that reflect the feedback we receive, this doesn't mean it's being ignored or that you won't see changes made in the future that address particular concerns surfaced by our PTR testers and players. Some changes, like weapon balance and tuning, are things that we will be constantly monitoring and adjusting as New World matures. Other changes may need additional time for development and testing. When it comes to weapon balance in particular, we will regularly adjust and tune these numbers as we gather and review your feedback paired with game data. Especially with the introduction of new weapons, weapon balance will always be in flux. You can rely on us to continue listening, observing, and adjusting accordingly. In our upcoming releases, you can expect to see more changes that reflect the feedback we have received from you or community. We will continue to seek out opportunities for you to provide early patch feedback and help shape the future of New World. Thank you again for all your support and feedback. You just spent 5 paragraphs saying nothing. You just said nothing. You said, hey, we heard you. In the future, we might change things and patch things, especially weapon balance. Duh, we already knew that. Did we, what? What information do you think you just gave us? For everybody watching, I'm sorry for wasting your time on a bunch of paragraphs that didn't have anything to do with anything. Undocumented changes in updates. Okay, and let me be clear, by the way, when it comes to the learning from our PTR and all this stuff and them addressing, hey, we hear you guys. We know you hear us. We see how bad you're getting railed on Steam reviews. We know you hear. We know you see how bad the player base has dropped. Like, we know that you can see it, guys. We know you're hearing us. The problem is you're not doing anything good. That's the problem. Is you introduced a public test realm that was early access. That was all it was. It wasn't feedback. It wasn't like us working with anything. We noticed a million bugs, and you said, "Screw it, let's put it all into launch or all into the live servers." Come on. And then you just give me 5 paragraphs here that don't in any way, shape, or form give any sort of, hey, it was bad of us to not change anything. Or, hey, we're sorry for the way that we did the PTR. We will change how we're doing PTR. We will release it 2 weeks early. And we're going to do at least 1 full week and then let everybody give us the reviews and bugs they find and everything. And then we're going to spend the next week patching everything. And if we don't patch everything, we're not going to put it on live. Mind-blowing, right? Holy cow. I'm legit, I'm not okay with how they're doing this. And so far, I haven't read jack squat that means anything, that changes anything. Undocumented changes in updates. Let's go. This is probably going to be the spiciest, most fun for me to read. We are sorry that a number of undocumented changes made it to the 1.1 Into the Void update. This update includes many changes the team made months ago before we branched our launch build. This long time frame and the size of the patch led to a number of changes that we missed in the release notes. This wasn't intentional, and we are working to improve our processes to ensure more accurate release notes in the future. I'm telling you guys right now, the title of this YouTube video, I'm sorry, we forgot to add all those bad changes to our release notes. I don't know how all the bad changes didn't make it in, guys. That was huge oversight. I'm sorry. Bull. I mean, I graduated being bored, all right? I'm not a complete idiot. Like, okay, to be fair, I am pretty dumb, but I can see through that. I mean, holy cow. I would love to know, like, and I'm going to put this in a comment. How many people think, oh, this was unintentional? Or how many people can say, wow, that's really weird that every single bad update and change that you guys did just happened to not be in the release notes while all the other stuff was in the release notes? I don't buy it for a second. Also, we already don't trust you, Amazon. Do you really think that the best thing for you to say in your formal forum post on the update, do you think the best option was to say, hey guys, it was an accident. We didn't mean to not put it in there. We already don't trust you. You really think that was the best thing? I mean, even if it is true, no one's gonna buy that. I mean, good Lord, Jerry. Somebody get Jerry out of there. Who the frick is coming up with that? Below is a list of main changes. I realize already, by the way, that this is like, 13 minutes in, and I'm kind of like railing on Amazon right now. I'm not okay with what happened. I'm not okay with stealth changes. I'm not okay with them putting all the bad stuff not in the patch notes and then saying, oh, sorry, we forgot. I'm not okay with a huge update on current issues post where they don't do anything. I haven't read anything about them changing anything. Like, what? This is all just like, hey guys, we hear you. We're going to try our best. We can't give any details on any changes of anything new happening, but we're really trying. Like, no, that's not good enough. It's not. It's better than nothing, but barely. Like, barely. Or at least to me. All right, let's go. Below is a list of the main changes that were either unintentional or not documented. I like how they say main changes as if there's like still stuff that they know about that aren't actually going to be in this like laundry list of things. Decreased loot quality and amount from elite chests. This was an unintentional bug that was introduced. We're investigating the issue and working on a fix, and we'll release it as soon as it's ready. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't believe it. I don't. I think that was completely intentional, that they jacked it up just to make endgame longer and the watermark grind harder, and they realized how terrible of an idea that was because of the backlash, and now they're going to just like, oh, you know, we'll blame it on a bug. We'll say it was a bug. They won't know, you know? Like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm so skeptical of everything right now. It's crazy. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Let me know in the comments. Do you believe it? Do you think it was an unintentional bug? Yes or no? Removed horticulture gear. I promise English is my first and only language, and I'm just really bad at it. I went to law school. This was also an unintentional change. For more information, see this post where we basically say that, hey, we labeled it future. Basically what they did is during patch 1.1, they somehow labeled all horticulture gear as a future update thing so that it gets completely taken out from the game. Like, basically anybody that had the harvesting gear, like the actual harvesting gear, that was like the pure harvesting buff, horticulture stuff, that got taken. Like, it was gone. It literally, it was in people's inventory. It was on them. It's gone. Removed double luck from Weaver's Knot. This was an intentional change that we missed in the patch notes. We never intended for items to have double luck, and by design, items should not have multiples of any perk. Okay, let me be clear about how I feel about Weaver's Knot. I knew this was going to get reverted at some point. They already said that they didn't want double blah 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 on an item. Well, this had double luck, making it the best in slot that you got early on in Weaver's Fen. The problem is, this is something that when you change really affects and hurts everybody in the game that's smart enough to keep it, which is the majority of your player base. And you did it in a stealth patch. You didn't tell us about it. Like this is one of those things, right? It was something bad for the player base, and you didn't tell us. And now you're saying, oh, we just happened to forget to tell you guys in the release notes. Bull crap. I don't believe it for a second. I'm totally fine with the change. I'm totally fine with them actually changing it. It's the fact that you didn't tell us about it. This is something that was in our inventories that we earned through questing, and you changed it on us without saying a word. That's not okay. We also did a tuning pass on a number of equipment shortly after release that have just recently made their way into the game. We made these changes because a number of new perks had been created, but were not well represented on our named items. We updated a variety of our items with fixed perks to host the new effects. We understand this disrupted some of your carefully tuned character builds. In the future, we will be more discerning and forthcoming about any changes we made here. We took your loot and your gear and we changed it and we didn't tell you about it and you guys got really pissed, so in the future we're gonna maybe think about telling you about it. Jesus, Amazon, how bad can this be? Elite POI difficulty tuning. A number of point of interest were increased in difficulty. We increased the difficulty of bosses, increased the number of enemies, increased the level of some enemies, and adjusted the placement of some elite chests. These were intentional changes that we missed in the patch notes. We wanted to increase the challenge of these endgame areas. Are you kidding me that for every single one of these, you're just going to go down the laundry list of all the bad crap you put in this game, and you won't even have the balls to say, we're sorry, we didn't tell you, we will never make that mistake again? You're going to hide behind, oh, we forgot? Come on, guys. No one's buying that. And if you are, that's your prerogative. If you believe everything they're saying, and you think that they are God himself and will never lie, That's your prerogative. That's your. I don't believe it. I don't personally believe it. And I'm literally a content creator for the game who's been spending a bajillion hours making YouTube content, streaming the game. I'm saying this as someone who's very heavily invested and enjoys this game. I don't believe it. I don't believe this. Not only, by the way, did you just, say something that the entire public already knew, you didn't even tell us how much you increased health. None of this is specific. How much did you increase health? Where did you add new mobs? What point of interest did you add different changes to? Where is any detail? Any of it? This is just so broad. Oh, gosh. As part of this tuning pass, we also adjusted some paths that allowed players to attack enemies from safe areas or skip enemies. So vague. What did you change? What is new? What is different? Thanks for telling us that stuff got changed. We already knew that. As a part of this tuning pass, the named enemies in Ebonscale Reach had their difficulty incorrectly increased too much, and we will be toning them down in a future pass. Thank you for at least giving a name. At least we know that Ebonscale Reach got overly buffed. Unfortunately, I see stuff here. The darkness membranes in Greatcleave and Morningdale also had their difficulty incorrectly increased, resulting in enormous HP values, and we'll be adjusting them down in a future patch as well. Okay, so basically darkness membranes that are in Greatcleave, Morningdale, and then Ebonscale Reach. If it's not those three areas, everything they did was completely intentional. So that's what I'm going to go forward thinking moving after this. Oh, lordy. Removed elemental quintessences as rewards from gathering elemental creatures. This was an intentional change that we made as a result of the number of these enemies and their spawn rates being much higher than we originally designed the rewards for the creature. Our goal was to create better balance between these creatures and elemental stones and plants as sources of moats. We were giving you guys too many good resources, and we needed to cut that out fast. Okay, whatever. You think it needed balance? Fine. You know what would be great? If I could actually freaking harvest any of them. I'd like to get my logging up, but I can't get the wolves. Just let me freaking log the wolves. You bet. I hope you address the fact that those are still broken as of today, as of Sunday, the 21st of November. Reduce the amount of wild wood required to make glittering ebony. This was an intentional change we made to make the cost of glittering ebony in line with the other epic crafting materials, such as Asmodeum and Phoenix Weave. You know what? Frankly, this actually helps the player base. Thank you. Just thank you. I will fully admit this helped the player base. Player-to-player trading is now possible in expeditions. This was an intentional quality of life improvement we forgot to document. Once again, this is actually something that was helpful to the player base. This was actually a good change. Thank you. Players can now see which trophies they have equipped from the bio screen. This is another intentional quality of life improvement we missed in the notes. Again, good quality of life stuff. This is good. This is helping the players. Thank you. Replaced Everfall Well and Morningdale Statue with a fountain. This was an intentional change that was made in preparation for an upcoming player event. Ooh. If there's players left. No, there's going to be players left. I fully anticipate that. I'm just messing. Crafting plus trade skills. Every trade skill has its importance to the overall item economy within New World. At the highest level of trade skill mastery, you're capable of crafting some of the most powerful items in the game. Pursuing the materials and crafting those items are endgame activities that are beneficial for players who are looking to craft the perfect items, as well as create high-value items to be traded. We want most of the things you can craft at a trade skills cap to be able to be used by players who didn't craft those things. But we also like that some things are just for the folks who are capable of making them. As we continue development, we will look for opportunities throughout the range of trade skill levels and endgame. This entire paragraph was worthless. I learned no information. I gained nothing of value, and this was a waste of time reading it. Update, stance on add-ons. If I remember correctly, their stance like a week ago was, hey, you're allowed to use this one dude's add-on for a mini-map or something like that, as long as the add-on didn't have XYZ stuff in it. Our overall goal on any form of add-on is simple. It should not provide any advantage over a player using the regular game client. That means an add-on can reorganize or present the information normally displayed in a different way, or provide information that normally would require a different UI view to achieve. The idea with the map add-ons is they fall under the latter category. We, of course, have an in-game map, and all should be doing is displaying that map in a different way. It's okay for the map to have a different artistic style as long as it's equivalent information to the in-game map. We're working to see if we can establish a simple and secure way to publish data for add-on use. This would allow them to add functionality not currently available. All right, again, I feel like I gained like no information. I maybe a little bit more because I can say like, oh, hey, they're going to look to try and work with add-on people in the future. So maybe that's the takeaway. They're going to work with add-on people in the future, maybe. Gold selling players plus bots. Based on the changes we made in previous patches, reports of gold sellers are down 70% from previous volumes, so substantial progress has been made, but this will always be a battle. As these bad actors adjust, so will we. We are also identifying and banning the spam accounts of gold sellers more quickly overall. We're banning at a higher rate against the bots who supply gold/materials and are expanding that weekly. We'll continue to be diligent on that front while looking for further ways to prevent bots from intruding on your gameplay experience. Please continue submitting reports of players in-game and use the correct report reason for quickest resolution. Out of that entire paragraph, here's what I got. The reports are down by 70%. The end. Now, is that because there are way less people in the game to do the reports? Or is that because you got rid of actually 70% of all the problems going on with duping? I don't know. I'm glad that they're taking the initiative to fix this stuff. Thank you. Did this paragraph really tell me anything of value? I don't know. Not really. We knew you were working on this stuff, and we were hoping and assuming that what you were doing was helping. How do housing points work? Well, to put it simply, whoever does the most amount of territory standing stuff in a week gets the best house. What a great system! Since multiple players can own homes on the same plot, each house is assigned a house score to determine which house is shown to the public. Your house's score, the scores of any group members who also live on that plot, and the scores of the top 20 houses are shown on the house enter screen. The total score is based off two factors, territory standing and decoration score. The territory standing component of the score is the standing a player has gained in the territory where the house is since the last time the scores were calculated. If the score is calculated every 2 days, it would be the standing the player gained in the last 2 days on their house's territory. The decoration score is calculated from the items placed within a player's house. In the November update, we resolved an issue where housing points spiked after players first set up their decoration after the first judging and housing score would be functioning as intended. Down the road, we're working on implementing some UI features to help better demonstrate the scoring process. Basically, the best house is the person who's done the most amount of territory standing in that territory within the period. It's like much more focused on the territory standing than it is on the actual decorations. Why is territory standing even an aspect of it? Why is it not just like who has the coolest house? Why can we not vote also? Like why is there not like a voting system, you know? I'd love to preview houses and vote. It'd be an awesome, like, you know how people in most other games do like transmog, contests, who has the coolest look, right? It could literally be a housing contest, who has the coolest houses. And you could vote on it. Imagine. Crazy. Harvester gear set. Is this where they're going to literally just tell us the same thing I already said, where they made it the future content? All right. In our latest update, we made a mistake that treated all tiers of the in-game horticulture harvesting gear as future content and unintentionally removed them from the game. This is an embarrassing mistake that is squarely our fault, and we apologize to our players who have had their harvesting and trade disrupted as a result. Yeah, it was. I wanted to say, yes, you're right. Absolutely, it was a bad mistake. You shouldn't have done it. You probably shouldn't have accidentally screwed everybody that had harvesting gear. We're working quickly to correct this and replace the lost items, targeting the next patch. Any player who has ever earned a single piece of this gear, good English, will be rewarded with a full set of Bind on Equip. Hold on, wait, what? Any player who has ever earned a single piece will be rewarded with a full set of Bind on Equip. Horticulture gear at the highest tier that was ever earned. The gear score for the replacement gear will be at the highest limit allowed per tier. This includes all horticulture gear earned, whether you received it as a loot drop, it was traded to you, or you purchased it from the trading post. The items will be distributed directly to players and show up as an armor chest that will deliver the full set of gear. What? So I don't know if there was a better solution, but let me be blunt about this. Directly giving every single player essentially in this game the highest possible horticulture gear that they could have ever had, and the highest gear score and the highest tier for a full set, even if I only owned one piece. What I'm saying is, vast majority of players probably only owned the headpiece or the gloves or the chest piece, right? They didn't own a full set, and you're about to flood the entire Eternum servers with everybody getting a full set. Oh, man. I mean, you are going to devalue the heck out of horticulture gear. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I don't know if that's the best route to go. It's going to help. It's a great boon for any player that had it. It's going to suck for trading post people. But you know what? All right, whatever. We'll expect it in the future. Everyone's getting a full set of harvesting gear. Lost housing and compensation. On October 28th, we addressed an issue where players lost their houses and potential housing items. While we provided a fix to prevent players from losing their houses and housing items in the future, we were delayed in providing compensation for those who lost their houses. This has now been addressed in the November monthly release. Players who lost their houses during world restarts will have their house restored if they are eligible to own a house in the settlement. If they cannot own another house, the house cost will be refunded and the furnishings returned to their storage. Please visit the settlement to start the restoration or refund. Thank you for reading our third edition of updates on current issues. We appreciate your continued support while we strive to make Eternum your in-game home. We're going to go take a bit of a holiday break, but we'll see you next week. See you in Eternum. The very first current issues post that Amazon ever did, I thought was one of the best things that they've ever done. The second update on current issues that they released, I thought was the next best thing that they've ever done. It was very transparent. They were opening the door to a lot of discussion and just talking openly about what's going on behind the scenes, where they're thinking, what's going on. This was a load of crap. I don't know what's happening at Amazon, guys. This was a load of crap. Let me give a summary of every single one of these. Stability and performance in game. We effed up with war lag, even though everyone knew we were going to. Sorry. Lack of transparency on penalties and appeals. We're going to listen maybe, and something maybe down the road might change. The end. Moderation, both in-game and community process. We're going to listen, and maybe some things might change down the road. Who knows? Okay, the end. Learning from our PTR. We didn't learn a thing, and we give you 5 paragraphs just talking about nonsense. Nothing's going to change. We heard you. We don't care. Undocumented changes in updates. We are really sorry that we pissed off enough people that we got a bunch of bad reviews on Steam and a bunch of people dropping the game. As a result, we'd like to write down a bunch of the changes that we didn't do before. Now that you guys already know they exist and this isn't going to inform anybody of anything. Let's go ahead and list all the changes, and then while we're listing them, we're going to tell you guys, sorry, we didn't mean to. We forgot to tell you. Bull. Just bull. Nobody believes that. Holy cow. Crafting plus trade skills. I don't know. This was random gibberish that had nothing to do with anything. We didn't learn a single thing from this paragraph. Stance on add-ons. We might work with add-on people in the future. The end. Gold selling players plus bots. We're working on stuff, and we're seeing improvements. The end. How do housing points work? Territory standing and decorations. The end. We already knew that. Harvester gear set. We screwed up real bad, and then we're going to screw up more by giving everybody a bunch of gear for free. I shouldn't say we're going to screw up more. I don't know how I feel. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about them giving us full sets, max level, max tier gear score from wherever you're able to get, like wherever your best piece was, essentially, and you're going to get a full set from that. Lost housing and compensation. You can get your money back, maybe. Good luck. Like, did we learn anything? I feel like this entire post, and as a result of it, I feel like this whole YouTube video is just a bunch of nothing. Come on, Amazon. Do better. Like, what? This is... You rushed out into the void patch, you screwed up a lot of stuff, and now it feels like you rushed out an update on current issues. With no information. I feel like I didn't gain anything from this, you know? Oh, gosh. I don't know. I'm still not happy with Amazon. I'm not, like, quitting the game. I still have a lot of stuff in-game that I can enjoy and find value in. But I'll be blunt. I'm not okay with what they're doing in the direction they're going with all this stuff. I am pissed that their official response is, I'm sorry, guys. We just happened to forget all that bad stuff that we knew you guys wouldn't like. Sorry. Like, no, man. Who thinks that's a good idea? Can somebody fire Jerry at Amazon, please, and, like, make it public? Even if it's not even a real person named Jerry. Can you just do it to appease me? I'm very... Now I sound like a freaking 2-year-old. All right, that's enough blabbering. That's everything for the update on current issues. Let me know in the comments, what are your guys' thoughts? I would love to hear, do you guys believe that they accidentally forgot to put all the bad stuff in their release notes? Do you believe that? Are they being honest, or are they just lying out of their butts right now to just try and cover their tracks for the fact that they tried to hide all the bad changes and then everyone got real pissed? And then now all of a sudden, oh, like, we should probably address this. Guess which one I think. For everybody on YouTube, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right? Have a great rest of your day.